Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Finance with Avery. Diving into the topic, the stock portfolios of our presidential candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. You might think you know these politicians, but have you ever wondered where they put their money? Well, buckle up because we're going to take a fascinating journey through the financial decisions that might just surprise you and possibly impact you. Maybe you hold some of these positions in these stocks and ETFs. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're thinking about it. Let's peel back the curtain and see what's in the portfolios of Harris and Trump. In the past, Harris's husband Doug Emhoff's portfolio included shares of some individual companies that are very well known, such as CVS, Home Depot, American Express, and some others. However, he began divesting individual stocks once Harris declared her Senate candidacy in 2015. By 2018, his individual stock holdings were nearly non-existent. Kamala Harris and her husband Douglas Emhoff primarily follow a passive investment strategy, focusing on index funds and ETFs rather than individual stocks now. So the portfolio composition of Kamala Harris primarily consists of retirement funds, cash, mutual funds and ETFs, and real estate. Her property in Brentwood, California is worth around $5 million, which Emhoff bought in 2012, almost 2 years before their marriage. The house is located in a really nice neighborhood of Brentwood in LA, California, which transferred to joint ownership of the couple. Forbes estimates that the house value has jumped from $1 million in 2021 to $4.4 million by 2024. Kamala Harris bought a around 1,000 square foot apartment in San Francisco for around $489,000 in 2004. Harris, however, sold the apartment for about $799,000 in 2021 after becoming vice president. So a nice investment right there in real estate. Like I said in previous videos, real estate is a great form of investing, whether you're actually living in it and you're building up your net worth yourself with the house you live in, or you're renting properties or things like that. Also, Harris sold her Washington, D.C. condo for about $1.85 million, which her and her husband bought for about $1.77 million in October 2017. The range that I've seen with the research I've done is stating that her cash reserves are estimated to be between like $300,000 to $1 million. That's just cash just sitting, in some kind of bank account. Hopefully it's a high yield savings account, maybe a CD or something like that. People aren't going to put everything they have out there. I mean, some people might say like, hey, here's my bank account, but Kamala Harris and her husband aren't out there doing that. This is just from different reportings and filings that people have researched and kind of gathered and kind of give an estimate on. So estimate cash holdings of around like 300,000, 500,000 to like 1 million, possibly more than that, possibly less. Who knows exactly what's going on right now? Maybe they bought another property, put some more money in the market. Who knows? But yeah. Now, the notable investments in Harris's portfolio that I want to focus a little bit more on are the mutual funds and ETFs that she's holding. Now, I'm going to kind of break this down like a top 10. So as you see right here, got it up on the screen. These are the top 10 investment holdings that I've seen based on different research of Kamala Harris's portfolio with her husband, Douglas Emhoff. I'm not going to go into too much detail with all of these ETFs, but I do want to take a look at the main holdings of these ETFs and funds. So with this Vanguard Target Retirement 2030 Trust 2, it's mainly going to be composed of other funds. Basically, it's not going to be individual stocks in this one. As you see, here's the breakdown. So with about 36.90% is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund Institutional Plus Shares. Yeah, it's a mouthful right there. So yeah, that's the bulk of this fund, the 2030 retirement fund. Then you have the Vanguard Total Bond Market 2 Index Fund Institutional Shares at around 26.80%. And then the Vanguard Institutional Total International Market Index Trust at around 24.90%. And then rounding it out is the Vanguard Total International Bond 2 Index Fund. So as you see right there, it's a pretty diverse retirement fund. This is a typical kind of retirement fund. Like when you sign up for an employer, you just kind of let them handle your retirement. You don't pick anything or something. You just set a date. Typically, the bulk or a lot or all of your investments are going to go into some kind of targeted retirement fund, whether that be like 2030, 2040, 2050. And then depending on that year, depends on how that fund invests. If you have a further out investment time frame, horizon, if you're like the retirement target is like 2050, 2060 or something like that, then that fund is going to have a little bit more exposure to some more riskier plays, maybe some more international plays, different things like that. If your retirement fund is sooner, it's coming up closer, like 2030 right here, for example, 2035, something like that, you're going to see more of that bonds going on because with the retirement fund that's more out there like 2050 or 2060, you're not going to see 20 something percent in this bond fund like this and like around 11% in a bond fund like this. Typically you're not. Like there may be some targeted retirement funds out there like that, but typically with the big ones, Vanguard, Fidelity, things like that, you're not going to see a huge portion of that fund being invested in bonds if your retirement time frame is like way out there, because bonds are more, they're more stable, more kind of, you kind of know what to expect with the yields and things from them, but they're not going to grow as much as typically, ETFs and individual stocks, with a longer time horizon. So yeah, that's some information on that target retirement fund. Let's see what else Kamala Harris has in her portfolio. Next up, we have the Vanguard Small Cap Value Index Fund, VBR, ticker symbol. Let's look this one up here. So portfolio composition on this one, it's got around 835 stocks in this ETF, VBR. Let's see what it mainly consists of. It's spread out with the sectors. Main sector in this ETF looks like industrials at 23.70%, then financials at 20.30%, and then consumer discretionary at 15.60%. Let's see the top holdings here. Smurfit, WestRock, let's see, Atmos Energy, NRG Energy, one of my favorite stocks and one of my top holdings right there. And then you also have IDEX Corp, First Citizens Bank Shares. So a lot of stocks in this portfolio, small cap. So these aren't going to be large cap stocks. Obviously, you're not going to see like, Visa and JP Morgan Chase when it comes to financials or things like that. Or, when it comes to energy, you're not going to see Exxon and Chevron or really big, large cap companies like that in a small cap value ETF. But there are a lot of stocks and names on here. Some of you may be familiar with, some of them not so familiar because, the small cap stocks don't get as much, headlines and publicity and, people talking about them as large cap and medium cap stocks. So yeah, that is the VBR Vanguard ETF. Let's see what else Kamala Harris has in her portfolio. She also has the iShares Core MSCI EAFE ETF, looks like. Top holdings in this one. Let's see here. Got healthcare, looks like a bulk part of the top sector as far as the individual stocks that are in this one. Then also consumer discretionary and information technology. Heaviest weighted stock on this ETF is the Novo Nordisk, which is in healthcare. Then ASML Holdings, you have Nestle, Consumer Staples, Novartis Healthcare, Shell Energy, Toyota, Consumer Discretionary, just skipping around on here some, Unilever, Consumer Staples, HSBC, Financials, and it kind of goes on and on right here. So yeah, this is a really diverse ETF right here. As you see, let's see total holdings in this one. Number of holdings as of October 29th on this one, 2,705. So a lot of holdings in this ETFs. Let's check out the other ETFs here. And then the next ETF she has is the Vanguard Small Cap Growth Index Fund. So similar to the other small cap ETF she has, but this one has a focus on growth instead of value. Let's check out the top holdings on this one here. So sector breakdown on this one, mainly focused on technology, which when you're talking about growth, that is going to be one of the top sectors. Then you have industrials, also around that 20% of the holdings for this VSGAX Small Cap Growth Index Fund here. Then healthcare around 17%, consumer discretionary around 16%. Then it kind of trickles down with energy, financials, and real estate. Top holdings in this ETF here. Let's see individual stocks in this one. Axon Enterprise, aerospace and defense sector right there with that one. That is the top holding. Then you have Deckers Outdoor Corp, PTC, which is in software, Linux and building products, DraftKings and hotels, restaurants, and leisure. That's what they put that in for the sector for that, and which is a betting app. Robinhood Markets, which, Robinhood investment, that's in the capital market sector. They have that here. So it's very spread out here with the holdings of this one. Small cap for sure. Like I stated with the other small cap fund, you're not going to see a lot of those big tech names or big energy names in this one because this is small cap focused and not large cap focused. Next holding in her portfolio looks like the Vanguard Growth Index ETF. So this one, of course, is going to have the big growth names on it. It does not have a focus on small cap, medium cap, or anything like that, but it actually has a focus just on growth. So yeah, as you see here, category large growth. Let's check out the holdings on this one. Sector breakdown on this one, mainly going to be focused on technology. As I stated previously, technology, when you're talking about growth, when you're investing in growth, technology is going to be one of the main sectors. This ETF right here has technology around 57% in the sector breakdown, which is the top sector for this ETF. Then you got consumer discretionary at around 18%. Individual holdings here. And so when it comes to growth, of course, you see these names right here, you should not be surprised. You see top of the fund right there at 12%, Apple. Then you have Microsoft around 11%, Nvidia, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, Alphabet, Google, Eli Lilly, Alphabet again, Google, because they have different class breakdowns of their shares, GOOGL and GOOG. Then you have Tesla, Visa, and that's just on page one. So And it goes on right here. You see Netflix, MasterCard, Costco, Adobe, McDonald's, Texas Instruments. So yeah, very large cap growth focused ETF right here. Ticker symbol for that Vanguard Growth ETF, VUG. Next up here, she has the Vanguard Information Technology Index Fund ETF, ticker symbol VGT. Of course, the sector overall in this ETF is technology. Then it breaks down into the sectors underneath technology, which are going to be application software, electronic components, semiconductors, system software, things like that. So it's broken down into those subsectors right there. Top individual holdings of this portfolio. At the top, once again, you see Apple at around 16%. Then you have Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, Oracle, Salesforce, Adobe, AMD, Cisco Systems, and so forth and so forth. Big technology names, big technology growth names. Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, IBM. Some of them, of course, less growth oriented than others. Some of them definitely, double-digit growth numbers they've been putting up in the past few years, and triple-digit in the sense of NVIDIA. But yeah, so very technology-focused, obviously, with the sectors of VGT. And let's look at the next ETF. She has the Vanguard Consumer Staples Index Fund ETF, ticker symbol VDC. So it looks like Kamala Harris and her husband definitely like Vanguard, which that is a great financial platform institution to invest in. Very low cost typically on their expense ratios compared to other index funds and ETFs, and very stable. Vanguard is Vanguard. Vanguard is up there with BlackRock and Fidelity when it comes to that. So let's see here, the VDC. So VDC, main category of this one, consumer staples. So that's going to be the main sector of this ETF. And then, of course, the subsectors are broken down into agricultural products, household products, packaged foods, personal care products, and so forth and so forth. Individual holdings on this one, number one at around 12.55% is ticker symbol PG, Procter & Gamble. Then you have Costco, Walmart, Coca-Cola, Phillips Morris, Pepsi, Mondelez, Altria, Colgate-Palmolive, Target, and so forth and so forth goes on. That's just page one. You know a lot of these names. Very well named consumer staple, large cap, medium cap companies here. General Mills, Kroger, Cisco, not the Cisco technology one, the Cisco food distributor, which is all over the US and everything. So yeah, also Monster Beverage Corp, Kraft Heinz, and so forth, and it goes on and on with that one. Let's see the next ETF. She's in the Vanguard Industrials Index Fund, ticker symbol VIS. This one mainly focused on industrial. So as you see, top head part of the portfolio, and it's not really saying exactly how much money she has in each of these ETFs. When it comes to, you have kind of a broad categories when it comes to some of those ETFs, just focusing on whether it be value or growth or a certain retirement date, things like that. Then you have these ETFs that are focused on certain categories and sectors. Now I like that. I personally have something like that going on in my Roth IRA. The overall S&P ETFs, the QQQ technology ETFs, and the SCHD dividend growth ETFs, things like that. And then I like to get into those sector ETFs, whether it be financials, healthcare, and like more exposure to those. But yeah, that looks like what's going on right here in this portfolio. Main sector with this one, industrials, of course, and the subsectors broken down: aerospace and defense, building products, construction, environmental, facility services, and so forth and so forth. Main holdings individual in this one at the top, around 3.77%, so not a huge bulk of it like it was with the technology ETFs. But at the top of this fund right here, you have GE, General Electric, then you have Caterpillar, RTX Corp, Union Pacific, was a railroad, Uber Technologies, Honeywell, Eaton Corp, Lockheed Martin, which is in the defense, automated data processing, ADP, Deere Corp, and it goes on and on. Page 2 here, you see Boeing, UPS, 3M, and so forth and so forth. So yeah, heavy with the industrials on that ETF, ticker symbol VIS. Couple more ETFs, it looks like, possibly in her top 10 investment holdings. Like I said, this could have definitely moved around. This is based on various research around the web, articles and different things, kind of pulled together to get a rough kind of ranking of her top 10 investment holdings in the portfolio with her husband. So DCP Cap Growth here. Let's look and see what this one is composed of. I'm not that familiar with this one. Very familiar with the Vanguard ETFs I am, but this one I am not. This looks like what DCP Equity Fund, Prudential Financial. Top 5 holdings in this one. Very technology based, looks like. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, right there. Top 4 holdings of that. 5th holding in healthcare, Eli Lilly. So yeah, top sectors: information technology, healthcare, financials, telecommunications, and consumer discretionary. A large blend investment fund right here. Not on the value side too much, not on the growth side too much, right in the middle with large cap holdings. So This one right here, very broad kind of, but with that focus. And so another holding looks like right here, rounding off the top 10, so to speak, is the SFDCP, Large Cap Equity S&P 500 Index Fund, San Francisco Deferred Compensation Plan Fund. So this may be linked, she has roots in California. This may be linked to somewhat of that of some sort. So and the composition of this fund right here, it is mainly focused on large cap growth. With the sector breakdown, top sector in this fund is technology at around 30%. Then it looks like cyclical around 27.61%, defense around 20%, healthcare around 12%, financial services also around 12%, and so forth and so forth. Top holdings in this portfolio, number one at around 7% is Microsoft, then Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta Platforms, Alphabet, Berkshire Hathaway, Alphabet Class C, Eli Lilly, Broadcom, and so forth. Those are the top holdings in this ETF. You've seen those names before, so you kind of get somewhat of an idea of the main, Kamala Harris and her husband aren't invested in individual stocks anymore, it seems. That's what the data and the information out there is presenting. But with the ETFs, of course, you can see the main companies that the ETFs hold. Some of them small cap, not as well known. A lot of them, one of those funds I think had over 2,000 something holders in it. Then you have some of the more bigger funds that have the more well-known names that that you probably use every day, see every day, every other day, something like that. So that is the portfolio breakdown of Kamala Harris and her husband. As I stated, it's more focused on just ETFs and funds. And of course, with the real estate going on and the cash holdings. So that is the bulk pretty much of the investment portfolio, of the information that's out there available somewhat to the public. So now that is Kamala Harris. Let's get into former President Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump's investment strategy has typically been centered around real estate, branding, and licensing. Throughout his career, he's focused on developing properties such as hotels, golf courses, leveraging his brand for various ventures, entertainment, so forth and so forth. However, he is invested in individual stocks. His financial disclosures as former president provided some insights, but they don't always offer the complete picture. Now, Trump's portfolio is quite diverse, spread across various sectors, including energy, technology, financials, industrials, and so on and so on. Trump also maintains traditional investments as well. He has several $1 million in government bonds and U.S. treasuries alongside money market funds is believed. His extensive real estate holdings are also noteworthy, of course, valued in the hundreds of millions. Overall, Trump's investment strategy appears to be a balance of high growth opportunities with more stable assets and investments. Mixing the high growth, high tech stocks with reliable income generating investments like real estate and dividends is definitely a smart approach. Something I do personally myself in my individual stock portfolio is, with the growth names, the well-known tech names, and also the dividend paying names in the energy sector, the financial sector. So great income generating stocks, great revenue generating stocks, some of them that pay a nice dividend, some of them that are growing that dividend nicely as well. Very good investment portfolio to have. Personally, I say so for myself, and it looks like Trump has that going on as well. Let's look at the individual stock holdings that he has. By far his largest holding, valued at around $2.4 billion, is the Trump Media and Technology Group, ticker symbol DJT. Trump owns about 114.7 million shares of this, representing about 65% of the company. So year to date, as you see, this stock has been up and down, a roller coaster ride, so to speak. Overall, year to date is up about 133%. It's definitely went on a run here recently leading up to the election. As you see, it was in the low mid teens, just a couple of months ago, pretty much a month ago, so to speak. And then it shot up to around, it looks like a high around $50. And so, yeah, it's definitely in that 52 range right now, kind of towards the middle, but it's been all over the place right there and definitely led to some great gains depending on when you got in this stock, when you got out, and so forth and so forth. So DJT is a social media and technology focused company. The company's product, Truth Social, is a social media platform when any user can create content, follow others, engage in an open global conversation, and so forth and so forth. If you're on this platform, you know about it. If you read about it, you know about it. Let's look at the next holding he has here is Apple. Of course, a dominant player right there in the stock market. They have that market dominance, that resilience, the value creation that they do with the buybacks and their dividend that's growing. So Apple, ticker symbol AAPL. Year to date, Apple's up around 19%. Definitely held in there, stayed in a certain range for a while, trading above the 50 and 200-day moving average right now. It's a good chance you know who Apple is. I won't go into too much detail. Large technology company involved in the design, manufacturing of smartphones, personal computers, tablets, wearables, and so forth. And also software platforms, including their iOS, their OS, and Apple Care, and Apple TV, and going on and going on. They've definitely been growing that services sector more in the recent years, where the hardware is kind of cyclical. Sometimes it kind of goes up and down. It depends on what's going on with the economy. Services can do that as well, but Apple has been focusing on that, with also their bread and butter, of course, being that iPhone. You might have one in your hands. You might be looking at this video on your iPhone, but yeah, that is definitely where they've made a lot of their money and their revenue from, and where they're able to invest in other products and services and categories with that money they generate from the iPhone. So next up here, we see next holding with a portfolio is Microsoft, ticker symbol MSFT. Another one very similar to Apple, although, very different products and services, but market dominance, diverse streams of income Microsoft has going on, subscription income, focus on AI. They've definitely been into the AI with the investments they made in the Chat GPT, the diverse streams of income, their subscription-based model with their Office products. They're also into gaming. They have cloud computing. So Microsoft is into a lot, and they have a lot of money coming from the things they're into. Year to date, Microsoft is up around about 15%. And there's a good chance, like Apple, you know who Microsoft is. Large cap technology company. I believe, what is their market cap of around $3.23 trillion? Let's see, what is Apple at? They're around that much as well. Apple around $3.5 trillion. So yeah, major companies, very well known. Next up here, we have on the portfolio NVIDIA. AI, artificial intelligence, market dominance, what I have down for this stock. Exponential growth, diverse applications with their products in gaming, AI, data centers, cloud computing, and they also typically trade at a premium. Some of these technology companies trade at a premium because they give pretty much premium results with their earnings. So NVIDIA is definitely one of those. Ticker symbol NVDA. Year to date, NVIDIA is up around 181%. So yes, massive. Their market cap, $3.41 trillion. They've definitely increased that market cap this year. And NVIDIA, like I stated, you know who NVIDIA is. Large cap technology company, full stack computing infrastructure company. Company segments include compute and networking and graphics. And they're involved in a lot of the background of what you see of working technology, semiconductor equipment. So yes, NVIDIA, large cap tech growth. Also in a portfolio is Home Depot, ticker symbol HD. Definitely probably aware of Home Depot. Let's check out to see how they've been doing here. Year to date, Home Depot is up around 13%. Home Depot is in a consumer cyclical sector, major home improvement retailer, wide assortment of building materials, home improvement products, lawn and garden, and so forth and so forth. You've definitely likely either been in a Home Depot before, or you know what's inside of a Home Depot. So yes, Home Depot, also like Lowe's. So now you see a little bit of different of a sector with this one. First, you had a heavy into technology, but now you're seeing a consumer cyclical stock right here. And also, I guess you could kind of almost put Home Depot in real estate somewhat, in a sense, because when real estate is doing well, Home Depot is probably doing well. And then depending on a lot of building going on, Home Depot is probably doing well. So also in Trump's portfolio is Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J. J&J's been up and down this year for sure. Definitely has some lows that are going on. Started off kind of high, was down in a certain section near that 52-week low for a while. Now they've jumped up recently since then, but they're only up around 2.5% year to date. You zoom out further, and this stock is definitely doing better. 5-year, around 22%. Max since the inception of the stock, around 7,000 something percent. Johnson & Johnson, well-known company as well in the healthcare sector with pharmaceuticals as well. They're engaged in the research and development, manufacture, and sale of a range of products in the healthcare field, with a primary focus being products related to human health and well-being. They operate through two main segments: innovative medicine and med tech, medical technology. One of the next main holders in Donald Trump's portfolio looks to be Procter & Gamble, ticker symbol PG. Procter & Gamble up around 13% year to date. This company also very well known. There's a chance you have several products in your house that are from Procter & Gamble. They're in a consumer non-cyclical sector with personal and household products and services. Wide range of brands under their umbrella, basically, including Head & Shoulders, Herbal Essence, Pantene, Olay, Old Spice, Safeguard, Secret, Gillette, Venus, Crest, Downy, Gang, Tide, Always, and so forth and so forth and so on and so on. You get the idea. So yeah, they're involved in beauty, grooming, healthcare, fabric and home care, and baby, feminine, and family care products. Procter & Gamble, very well-known large cap company. Next up in Donald Trump's portfolio, Coca-Cola, ticker symbol KO. Year to date, this one's up around 11%. You know who Coca-Cola is for sure. It might be in your fridge right now, might be on your table right now. You may have just taken a sip of it right now. Coca-Cola, very large cap, well-known brand all over the world, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Latin America, North America, Asia Pacific, large beverage company with brands under their umbrella, including, of course, Coca-Cola, Sprite, Schweppes, Coca-Cola Zero, Fanta, Fresca, Body Armor, Powerade, Minute Maid, and so forth and so on. So yes, a very large, well-known beverage company, Coca-Cola. Market cap on this one around $283 billion. So definitely a large cap company. And also in Donald Trump's portfolio is Amazon. Very well-known company. Of course, you probably know this one as well. Ticker symbol AMZN. Market cap of around $2 trillion. Year to date, Amazon is up around 27%. And yeah, another one of those companies you probably use often, may have just used it. Maybe you got some package on your doorstep right now from Amazon. Very well known, wide range of products and services offered through its stores, including merchandise and content it has for purchase through third-party sellers. Also manufactures and sells electronic products, including Kindle, the Fire TV, Echo, Ring, Blink, and so forth and so on. Also, a major part of their company is AWS, their cloud platform. That is where they make a lot of their money. Nice margins over there with that platform. It's been doing great with the growth with that as well. For the sector right here, Amazon on MSN Money, they state that they're in the consumer cyclicals, which is true. Amazon is one of those just massive companies where you can put them in a couple different sectors and it would make sense. You know, consumer cyclicals, technology, very well-known, large cap company that Donald Trump has, it seems, in his financial investment portfolio. Next up here, you have also Broadcom, ticker symbol AVGO. Broadcom market cap of around $825 billion. Year to date, this stock is up around 58%. Broadcom is a technology large cap company into global technology that designs, develops, supplies a broad range of semiconductor, enterprise software, and security solutions. They operate through two main segments, the semiconductor solutions and infrastructure software platform. So yes, Broadcom, one of those more behind the scenes kind of companies. They're not out there too much with their brand like Microsoft and Apple, maybe even Nvidia and some, certain technology companies like that. But Broadcom, you may have heard of them, maybe not as much as the other stocks, but you also probably definitely use them as well. So more kind of behind the scenes, but definitely not too behind the scenes when it comes to their revenue, because it is a lot. Yeah. So yeah, big, large cap company in technology, Broadcom. And one of the things that a lot of these stocks have in common, and I would say in this kind of top 10 holdings that Trump has in his portfolio, is that many of them pay a dividend. DJT does not pay a dividend, Trump Media Technology Corp, but Apple pays a dividend, Microsoft pays a dividend, Nvidia does, Home Depot does, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Amazon does not, Broadcom does. So most of the companies in that kind of top 10 right there of his investment portfolio do pay a dividend. Some of the other notable holdings in his portfolio, I won't get too much into details, but I did see them, in different articles and kind of mentionings of them, that he does hold some of his shares in some of these companies. But other notable holdings in Donald Trump's portfolio seem to be Alphabet, Google, Meta, Facebook, JP Morgan Chase, Berkshire Hathaway, Pepsi, Tesla, Exxon, and there are several others. Overall, like I stated, a very balanced portfolio with growth, stability, and dividends spread out amongst various sectors, including technology, consumer staples, financials, healthcare, energy, industrials, and communication. As I wrap up this broad analysis video on the investment portfolios of Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, it's clear that their approaches to wealth management differ significantly, but there are some crossover and some things they have in common. It's important to note that while examining the investment strategies of public figures can be insightful, it is crucial to develop an investment plan that aligns with your own financial goals and risk tolerance. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.